And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We are talking Friday in Mexico. Yep, the roundup of rookies. It was a rookie Friday, at least in FP1, and very much rookie-esque when you look at the crashes, big crashes on Friday also in Free Practice 1 and Free Practice 2. So let's then have a look at FP1, where George Russell didn't do too well in FP2, did he? But George Russell in FP1 tops the times in arguably what was a more meaningful session than FP2, simply because in Free Practice 2 it was the 1 hour tyre test. But anyway, Carlos Sainz in second. He had good form in FP2 as well. Yuki Tsunoda in third. Then Max Verstappen in fourth. Not having, to be fair, I mean, he did 14 laps. But there were issues with the car, seemingly with the Red Bull car, all the way through. So Hulkenberg fifth, Oscar Piastri sixth, Esteban Ocon seventh, Valtteri Bottas in eighth, Liam Lawson, not too bad, in ninth, but he is, what, there, about 3/10 off his teammate, who's third. I mean, yeah, not bad. Sergio Perez in 10th, Franco Colapinto in 11th, and in 12th, we have the first of our rookies in the guise of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Yes, he did do more than a couple laps this time. Nope, he didn't find the wall, and he was only, let's be fair, when we look at it, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, yes, he was 1.2 seconds off George Russell, but we don't know how much fuel, we don't know what is going on, etc. Pato O'Ward, though, 1.297, and when we look at him, he was just over about 3/10 off Oscar Piastri, which is not that bad for the home driver. 14th, Kevin Magnussen. 15th, Pierre Gasly. 16th, Lance Stroll. 17th, Alexander Albon. Well, he is far back, just like Ollie Behrman, who was last. There is a reason for that. We'll get into that in a second. And then we have Felipe Drugovich, Robert Schwartzman in the Kick Sauber. But let's have a look at the times, the best sectors in Free Practice 1, which I think is going to be a lot more relative here than it would be in Free Practice 2 because of that tie test. Well, Sector 1, Sector 2, it is all Mercedes, it is all George Russell. Sector 3, though, it was all Ferrari, and the ideal lap, 77.998, that's in total how many seconds. Aston Martin, though, not looking particularly good. Yes, they had a half-decent, and I wouldn't say even half-decent, but an average, at best, Sector 3, but really, really slow. 1.4 seconds off the fastest, which was Mercedes. And even Red Bull, not a great Sector 1, a solid Sector 2, and a kind of like middling to average, well, just below average Sector 3, as you can see with Red Bull there. That's not particularly good at all. So it looks to be between Ferrari and Mercedes. Mercedes, if you were to believe FP1. However, you got to wonder what McLaren are going to be up there at some point, aren't they? Absolutely, surely are. They have brought a wreath of upgrades, though, to Mexico. So let's get into what most people will be talking about, the Mexican Grand Prix. And it is this incident here with Alexander Albon and Ollie Behrman. Now, as you can see here, Alexander Albon are very much behind Ollie Behrman. Alex is on a fast lap. Ollie Behrman isn't. But the issue is, yes, Ollie Behrman, should he have got out the way sooner? Maybe. But then he does. Let's play it. I mean, here we go. And he is now, at this point, he obviously realises that there's a very fast Alexander Albon coming. And he's on the far end. At this point, there's nothing more he can do. He's as far away off the circuit, almost off the circuit as you can be. And Alex Albon then does this. He loses it, smacks. I mean, he absolutely smacks into Ollie Behrman and enters the wall, damaging both cars, essentially ending both their runs. And into the wall. You can see here, look, there you go. There he is, coming into, you see him, look, coming into the corner here, and he's already out of shape just about here. And there is poor Ollie Behrman, nothing he could do there at that point. Both of them really just passengers. I mean, the issue is, Alex Albon wasn't particularly very nice about Ollie Behrman, understandably, but could this have been avoided by Alex Albon? Yeah. I mean, he lost it. He saw him. He reacted too late. If you were to apportion blame, you'd probably blame more on Alex Albon than Ollie Behrman. Is Alex Albon under pressure? And that's what everyone's going to be talking about now. I don't think we did say he's under a bit of pressure coming into this Grand Prix. Sadly, he was not able to make it out to FP3. But Alex Albon, yeah, he's under pressure. Oliver Baumann, I don't think did too much wrong, all things considered. But there we go. So this is FP2. This is free practice 2, with Carlos Sainz now leading the way in the 117.699. And it's Oscar Piastri second. Yeah, McLaren looking good. But bearing in mind, this was on the T tyre, the test tyre. And they had different, obviously, there were the 2025 tyres, all of them different compounds. Third again, Yuki Tsunoda. Now, that is not bad. That RB in the hands of Tsunoda looks really good. Yes, he was a good few tenths faster than Lawson. And I think he needs to be, doesn't he? He needs to show Lawson the way after Liam Lawson had an absolutely stunning Cota. He had an absolutely stunning US Grand Prix. So Leclerc is fourth. Those Ferraris are looking good. We did predict going into the weekend that the Ferrari are going to have an issue with their power unit, with their turbo, because of the high altitude. If they fixed it, could we have another Ferrari victory? Well, Lando Norris fifth. I mean, both Ferrari and McLaren are looking good. Magnussen sixth, Hamilton seventh, Bottas eighth. Hamilton obviously only getting three laps on the medium run tyres, so it's really hard to gauge. And FP3 is going to be such an important practice session. So we got Perez in ninth, beating Max Verstappen for once, but there is a reason. Lawson in 10th, Alonso 11th, Hulkenberg 12th, Ocon 13th, Stroll 14th, 15th Colapinto, 16th Gasly, 17th Zhou, 18th Russell, 19th Verstappen, and obviously Alex Albon did not make FP2, sorry. But with Max Verstappen, there was something wrong with the engine. There was a bit of smoke coming out of it, I think, at one point as well. He has said, yeah, okay, I can't tell. We only did a few laps. I can't tell how good the car is at the moment. Luckily, fortunately for him, it appears he doesn't need an engine change. At least that's his opinion. So fingers crossed for Max Verstappen that he can get it up there and make a fight out of it at the Mexican Grand Prix. We want more of what we saw before lap 52 at the very least. With Max, Lando and Charles Leclerc. Well, imagine a three-way fight for the Mexican Grand Prix. Could Perez get up in there? I certainly hope he can. I have my doubts. Prove me wrong, Perez. And also, this is the other incident here. George Russell doing a whoops-a-daisy into the wall in Mexico. It was a massive, really high G impact to the point he had to go to the medical centre. He got released. As far as he is fine. We've seen him in an interview, and this was the moment. George Russell in the S's. So George Russell then at the Mexican FP2 in the S's. Let's just put that down. In kind of like in the S's towards the end of the sector. Very much what happened to him at Cota, just going over the curb a tiny bit and then completely losing it. What ended up being a fairly sizable shunt into the barriers. I don't think there's anything George Russell could have done. He's turning that just a tiny bit over the curb. I mean, that Mercedes absolutely looks abhorrent, and I think Mercedes just surprised him like it did with Lewis Hamilton. It's slightly different to the Alex Albon incident, who was obviously spooked by Ollie Behrman, but yeah, not particularly good at all. So here's how the teams ranked through free practice 2. Once again, you can't really take it with a pinch of salt, but McLaren looking good this time. Ferrari Sector 1, McLaren Sector 2 and Sector 3. McLaren and Ferrari looking really good. RB, if you believe that, is the third fastest car. I don't think it is, but they're looking solid. And if you remember here last year, Daniel Ricciardo had a really solid qualifying and a really solid race, as did Yuki Tsunoda coming through the field and kind of ruined it against, I'm not sure what car it was. But once again, Red Bull, really, we can only take Perez's times, and Red Bull looking less than average. And to be fair, Mercedes not looking particularly great as well. But Aston Martin seemingly improved a bit in the Sector 3, but looking not particularly good in Sectors 1 and Sectors 2. So that's pretty much the news coming out of FP of Free Practice 2. One thing I did think was quite interesting was here. If you look at this, as we know, Fernando Alonso is celebrating many, many Grand Prix this weekend. And this is what Formula 1's put out, the ages of the grid when Fernando Alonso debuted. So, Liam Lawson, Franco Colapinto, and Oscar Piastri were not born yet. Oh my gosh. Yuki Tsunoda is 10 months old. Lando Norris, 1 year old. Zhao Guanyu, 1 year. Lance Stroll, 2 years old. Leclerc, 3 years old. Max Verstappen, 3 years old, along with George Russell, also 3 years old. Esteban Ocon and Alexander Albon, both 4 years old. Pierre Gasly, 5 years old. Carlos Sainz, just 6 years old. And then if you want to go to 8 years old, you're looking at Kevin Magnussen, 11 years old. Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez, 11 years old. Nico Hulkenberg, 13 years old. And Lewis Hamilton, 16 years old. I mean, imagine that. So that's pretty much your practice session, your practice talk. As we know, McLaren have launched that appeal. Will McLaren do it? I don't know. I mean, if it's anything like Brazil 2021, it's kind of like the stewards and the FA marking their own homework after a decision is made. They don't like to go against it. Helmut Marko, though, almost, I guess this is almost sort of kind of breaking. If we look at FP1 saying Helmut Marko, despite what Max has said, reveals engine penalty chances for Max Verstappen after a day to forget. Yeah, as we know, he did endure a tough day in Mexico as engine issues on his Red Bull curtailed his running. FP1 was just cut to 14 laps as he encountered an engine issue, and he's aiming to extend his points advantage over Lando Norris, but in FP2, Verstappen radioed in to complain about strange noises from his engine and then returned to the pits again, sadly. So, yeah, that poor Max Verstappen there. I mean, poor guy can't get any luck this weekend. Hopefully, I mean, for him, and if the luck's going to go one way, maybe it's going to go to Sergio Perez. Fingers crossed about that. But he did. I mean, Max Verstappen did brand Friday pretty much useless for him with the Red Bull in terms of setting up the car. If you liked what you see, please give us a subscribe. That would be amazing. Hit that notification button if you do not want to miss a video. Give us a like as well. That really helps. If you do one of them, you're a world champion in our eyes. If you do more than one, definitely a multiple world champion in our eyes. Stay safe, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.